I made this game where you play as a camera in 3 hours, and it almost made me tear my hair out, so let's see how I did it. So at first, I started building the character controller. This was a big mistake. I wasted so much time on this character controller that it wasted a lot of the other time I had for development. I spent 15 whole minutes on just getting left and right motion working. And now I start working on the jump, and I'm already half an hour in, and I've only just gotten the jump working. But at least for the jump, I do add some of the extra features like coyote time and jump buffering. Did this game really need it? Probably not, but it's nice to have in the controller. I think this time that I spent would have been better off not implementing this, but made me feel good that I used coyote time and jump buffering. Makes me feel really good, even if it's completely pointless. I feel like if I get time, I want to change the controls for the air control. I want to make the air control a bit less slippery, but for now, that's fine. Let's set that to 7, let's set that to 80. I, in fact, do not get time. I wish I had time for it, but I didn't. I now get the camera following the player. It only follows it vertically and also has a cap at the bottom of the top. If there's a wall like that, you can see the player gets stuck. So what we want to do is add a material 2D, physics material 2D, and let's go player. And let's just set 0 friction. And just apply that to the player. And you see no longer happens. I now start working on the enemies, and quite honestly, this is another chunk of time where I just wasted a ton of the time I had with silly mistakes. I get down to about 1 hour and 45 minutes. I'd used almost half of my time on just a player controller and enemies. Like, that's a complete and utter mess of time management. Yes. Yes. Magical. The annoying thing here is I originally use a polygon collider, but I don't end up using that, so half of that code I've just scrapped. Again, terrible time management. I don't even know what the enemy is going to be. I can tell you what the enemy is going to be. Underwhelming. Okay, there we are. There we are. So we have that working now. So now I'm going to take a break with just over 1 hour and 26 minutes to go. Okay, back from eating food, so now let's resume. Here I start drawing the character and animating it. I ended up with just a little camera because I didn't want to have to draw an actual character. I'm already at the point of having less than 50 minutes remaining, and I haven't even got the whole point of the game in place, which is the high score function. So I have no UI and I have no different enemy types. So this is where I start rushing to try and get everything to come together. I wanted the card to bob up and down as it animates, but I didn't get around to doing it. No polish. One of the major mistakes I made here is that because I had 0 time left, I had 0 time to polish either. So my level design suffers, my character designs suffer. It's just a box with the number 1, 2 and 3 inside. So a lot of the interesting aspects of the game got left till last, and it greatly harmed the final product. So I think this game has a lot of interest if you turned it into a puzzle game, but because it was rushed within the 3 hours, it doesn't reach the potential that the idea actually has. Wasted time for me typing the wrong thing. I think by this point I was going mad. 10 minutes to go. AS equals audio source. And we want to go, if we do the thing, play a flash, as.play. AS, let's call it AS. I'm sure AS is fine. It's a fine AS. Come on, Unity, you've wasted like 20-30 seconds of my time. First, I need to go to the enemies and declare a new number 2 and number 3. Right, okay, that's complete. Now we need to rename all of these to number 1. And we want to grab one of these and 2 of these. And let's grab a couple of these. And then these up here. These need to all be number 2. And this is number 2. Is it? Number 2. And then these need to be number 1, number 2, these are all number 3, and we want to shove on number 3. The big mistake I make here is I try to change how the score is calculated based on how many enemies you actually destroy, but the math is entirely wrong. So technically it does work in the way that I want, but it's a little bit janky, and if I would have had more time, I would have finessed the high score code. And the final stretch, and it's all complete. Well, as complete as it can be in 3 hours. It's not perfect, but I think it's done alright, given the time frame. I think there's definitely an interesting concept to be explored. I think if you went more into the puzzle aspect rather than the arcade high score aspect, I think you could really get an interesting game where you only have, let's say, 3 pictures you can take. So yeah, all the code is available on my website. I'm going to just finish commenting it and upload it on there. You can play it on itch.io, link in the description. Otherwise, that's this video. So if you enjoyed, like, and I'll see you in the next one.